The film begins with a terrible scenario in a war-torn Middle Eastern region. In a tiny bunker, a group of U.S. Special Forces personnel is being kept captive and subjected to cruel interrogation and torture by their enemy captors. As the situation worsens, a female soldier named Wine faces the same destiny as her comrades. Her captain, Jesse Freeman, steps in and informs the enemy that she knows nothing. Jesse's defiance only enrages the enemy soldiers, who demand an explanation. Despite being electrocuted and beaten, Jesse is unwavering in his determination to defend his teammates, and refuses to divulge any information. The enemy soldiers' tensions are rising. They start arguing and turning on one another. Jesse faints in the midst of the turmoil, leaving his captors without the knowledge they sorely sought. Jesse is merely playing possum, unbeknownst to them. Seizing the opportunity, Jesse quickly unties himself and tackles the captors, catching them off guard. He battles ferociously, saving the lives of his two fellow troops and defeating their captors. The danger, however, is far from finished. The adversary has quickly detonated a bomb in the hideout. As they flee, the explosive explodes, injuring all three soldiers severely. Jesse has retired from active duty and is now enjoying a peaceful life with his family. He is married to Alicia and has two children, Ryan and Mara. Jesse works as a security guard, but he is frequently obsessed with work and neglects his family. Alicia is worried about Jesse's absence and encourages him to spend more time with their children. Jesse's two children have never gotten along, causing family strife. Jesse, a worried father, decides to follow Alicia's advice and spend time with his children. He devises a strategy to attract them to his job, a basketball stadium owned by one of the NBA's clubs. There is a special basketball game in the stadium on the day of their visit, which Jesse asks Ryan and Mara to watch. He promises them it would be a memorable event because the mayor, Mrs. Christine, and the governor, Mr. Paul, would be there. Diana, the stadium's new billionaire owner, would also be in attendance. Mara's face brightens up with joy at the news. Meanwhile, Diana and her boyfriend, Millie Hip, have just arrived at the stadium and are surrounded by journalists and fans. Back to Jesse, he continues to show Ryan and Mara about the stadium, meeting his boss, Devlin Montez, and a janitor named Gus. The kids are enthralled by the behind-the-scenes tour of the stadium and want to learn more. Meanwhile, security officers inside the stadium are on high alert when numerous suspicious people claim to be Wi-Fi service officers. They are allowed to enter the stadium after being checked. Jesse takes Ryan and Mara to their seats, but two rowdy onlookers raise a commotion, requiring Jesse to step in and calm things down. Governor Paul and Mayor Christine welcome the entrance of the new owner, Diana, and her boyfriend, Millie Hip, in another section of the stadium. They thank Diana for her contributions to the development of the city, including the operation of the popular basketball facility. Unbeknownst to everyone, a squad of intruders camouflaged as Wi-Fi service officers have penetrated the stadium. They managed to get into the stadium's security system and put bombs in key areas, led by Job. To mix in with the actual workers, the crew donned security uniforms. Job's crew begin to eliminate the legitimate security personnel one by one, generating chaos and uncertainty throughout the stadium. Despite the hubbub, Ryan and Mara are unconcerned about the threat and continue to watch the game from their seats. Diana, Millie, Mr. Paul, and Mrs. Christine watches the game from the VVIP room in another section of the stadium. Job and his team make their way inside the VVIP room, where Diana, Millie, Paul, and Christine are located. Job pretends to be a security guard at first, claiming to be a milice enthusiast but expresses his genuine objective to rob Diana's possessions. When Job draws out his gun, the tension in the room increases, driving everyone to panic. Despite Mr. Paul's efforts to negotiate with Job, the situation swiftly deteriorates when Job shoots and kills him. The event's shock and horror resonated throughout the room as the others stare on in astonishment. Ryan is completely absorbed in the basketball game as it continues. His sister, Mara, on the other hand, is uninterested in the game and keeps bothering him with inquiries about their father, Jesse, who works as a security officer at the stadium. Ryan rejects her fears, claiming that their father's job is insignificant. Mara becomes increasingly annoyed with her brother's inaction and realizes she needs to use the restroom. But she has no idea where to look, so she snuck into the security guard's toilet. What she discovers inside is frightening. Job and his team are savagely attacking the legitimate security personnel. Mara is apprehended by Job's squad and taken away before she could flee, in order to prevent her from reporting the occurrence. Meanwhile, Diana moves $1 billion to a hidden bank account. Job then directs one of his team members, Gamma, to impair the stadium's communication systems so that the security officials do not communicate with one another. When Jesse returns to the stands, he discovers that his daughter, Mara, has gone missing. Ryan's lack of interest in his sister irritates him. Jesse swiftly triggers a tracking device connected to Mara's VIP card. Job's crew, on the other hand, has already abducted Mara and has the VIP card in their possession. They know Jesse is following the card and exploit it to frame him for their crimes. Jesse is perplexed when he runs into some of his colleagues' security personnel, who abruptly turn against him. He doesn't want to fight him, but he can't help but defend himself. Jesse is approached by the janitor, Gus, after defeating Job's team and clearing his identity. As a result, he sees something odd about the security officers that day and informs Jesse of his suspicions. He adds that the majority of the security staff have been replaced by newcomers. Jesse's skepticism grows, so he decides to look into it more. He and Gus arrive at the security station, but it is too late. Job squads have taken control of the situation. Jesse and Gus need to act quickly and flee to the living room. Jesse sees that Job's crew is utilizing extremely advanced automatic weapons while they are hiding, indicating that they are dealing with a deadly and well-organized criminal outfit. Mara manages to fool Omega and escape while being taken captive by Job's crew. She is apprehended again, but this time she is unable to flee. Diana ultimately identifies Job's actual identity as a former CIA operative who was sacked for murdering a Muslim family in the VVIP suite. He charged them of being terrorists. When Diana relays this information to the others, Job becomes angry and threatens her right away. Meanwhile, Jesse and Gus come across one of Job's team members, Gamma, who is putting a device in place. Jesse questions Gamma about her security tablet and base, as well as whether she is a new security guard, but she is unable to offer the information. Gus tries to grab Gamma, but the endeavor proves difficult. Gus, unfortunately, is no match for her. Jesse is compelled to encounter Gamma, who is a formidable woman. Jesse is eventually triumphant after a long battle. He wants to know where his daughter is, but Gamma claims to have no knowledge of her whereabouts. Gamma then shoots herself in the head after declaring that they would all die once the basketball game is done. Jesse acts fast, defusing the device that Gamma had put earlier. Fortunately, his military experience had prepared him for such scenarios, and he is able to easily deactivate the explosive device. With the threat removed, Jesse and Gus focus their efforts on freeing Mara and the other captives imprisoned in the stadium. Meanwhile, Job's rage erupts in the VVIP room after being provoked by Diana. His fury, however, is fueled not just by her taunting, but also by the memories of his family's awful fate at the hands of the government. In response, Diana snidely implies that Job's family had gone due to his own shortcomings, further enraging him. Job lashes out in rage and seizes Diana, but he stops short of killing her. Instead, he requests that she sacrifice either her lover, Millie, or Mrs. Christine. This macabre scheme is foiled when Diana's payment is placed into Job's bank account. Job calls Gamma to check on their progress, but he is surprised to hear Jesse on the other end of the telephone. Job quickly dispatches his squad to hunt and remove Jesse, and his concern intensifies when he learns that Gamma is perhaps dead. However, just as he is ready to give up hope, Omega appears, accompanied by Mara. While the VVIP area is tense and hostile, the scene in the stadium and stands is bright and exuberant, with the audience cheering and celebrating. Jesse, on the other hand, returns to Ryan in a panic after failing to locate Mara amid the mayhem generated by the intruders and their bombs. Despite Ryan's desperation to assist Jesse, the veteran soldier advises him to stay and avoid putting himself in danger. Meanwhile, Jesse and Gus set out on a dangerous mission to find and defuse the bombs dispersed throughout the stadium. Back in the VVIP room, Mara is being grilled by Job, but despite his threatening approach and the gun leveled at her, she remains unusually cool and controlled. In reality, Mara answers Job's inquiries nonchalantly, showing no symptoms of fear or obedience. Instead, she vows confidently that her father will come to her aid. Jesse and Gus work nonstop to locate the remaining bombs. Their movement becomes halted. On Gus's advice, Jesse decides to go to the announcement center in search of a new plan. He attempts to persuade an officer named Bain to sound the evacuation alarm. However, 2 members of Job's crew break in and attack them before they can activate the alarm. Although Jesse escapes the assassins, Bain is sadly shot and murdered in the chaos. Jesse is desperate for a place to hide when he unexpectedly meets Devlin, who turns out to be his employer all along. When Jesse tells him about the issue, Devlin emerges and points his rifle at him, exposing himself to be a member of Job's crew as well. Jesse has no choice except to disarm Devlin and confront him in a physical combat. Despite Devlin's best efforts, Jesse quickly beats him and grabs his listening device, which he uses to fool Job into thinking Devlin is still alive. Jesse rushes out to rescue his daughter after learning from Job that she is with him. Meanwhile, Job becomes concerned after learning of Jesse's excellent record as a qualified U.S. Special Forces officer. Job reacts out at Mara and orders Omega to kidnap Ryan in order to gain an advantage in negotiations with Jesse. Omega has been tasked with convincing Ryan to leave the stands, but Ryan refuses to defy his father's commands. Despite Omega's best efforts, he is unable to persuade Ryan to relocate. Job, a member of Omega's squad, locates Jesse using security cameras and promptly instructs Omega and 2 other team members to eliminate him. Jesse, who is looking for Mara, outwits the trio and lures them into a room where he easily battles and defeats them, thanks to his military skills. Jesse demands to know where Mara is after incapacitating Omega. Omega leaks the information and is soon assassinated by Jesse. Jesse seeks help from Gus, who is more familiar with the stadium's layout. Jesse, on the other hand, requests that the typical route to the VVIP area be avoided in favor of a surprise approach. Jesse communicates the information to Gus, who is surprised to learn that there are still active bombs in the stadium. Gus, confused and without Jesse, chooses to defuse the bombs himself, knowing that the game is going to end and the devices are about to blow. Job is about to detonate the explosives on his hand in the VVIP area. Suddenly, Jesse bursts into the room, shattering the glass. Despite Jesse's unexpected entrance, Job remains unfazed and continues to press the trigger, causing the bomb to explode. Fortunately, Gus had removed the other bombs, leaving Job perplexed as to why his bomb has not detonated inside the structure. With little time to spare, Jesse dispatches Job and his team with his weapon. Job saves himself by taking Mara with him when he flees. Jesse then dashes towards the terrified audience following the blast. Ryan, who has been watching from the lower stands, sees Jesse and Job's clash in the arena's upper hallway as they prepare for their final combat. Despite initially putting up a good battle, Jesse begins to weary as Job draws out a weapon. Jesse eventually passes out, leaving Mara to see her father's defeat. Mara enrages Job by kicking him in a frantic attempt to help. Job replies by throwing Mara to the ground, but Jesse is able to get back and save his daughter. Job had a bomb implanted on her arm, which is uncovered in a dramatic turn of events. Diana approaches Job from behind, pointing a weapon at him. Jesse takes advantage of the situation and proceeds to attack Job and place the bomb on him. Jesse kicks Job down quickly, allowing the bomb to detonate harmlessly in the air. In the final scene, Jesse's family has been reunited and is safe, and the stadium has been saved from the calamity. Diana approaches Jesse and offers him the role of stadium security chief. Although charmed by the offer, Jesse declines for the time being in order to prioritize spending time with his loved ones. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.